London, in the heart of the Victorian age, was a city unlike any other, a place where opposites lived side by side, brushing shoulders on every street corner. To step into Victorian London is to enter a world of dazzling contrasts, glittering wealth and grinding poverty, polished manners and harsh realities, elegance wrapped in soot and steam. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine it. The year is 1855. The morning fog hangs low, thick as wool, curling around lampposts and softening the edges of the waking city. Somewhere in the distance, a factory whistle pierces the quiet, calling thousands to work. And with that single sound, London begins to move. Victorian London's fog was more than weather. It was atmosphere, identity, and sometimes danger. Part natural mist, part cold smoke. It drifted through the streets like a living thing. Writers described it as yellow, brown, even greenish at times, heavy enough to swallow whole buildings and turn midday into twilight. People learned to navigate by sound, the clatter of hooves, the cry of a vendor, the distant rumble of a train. In the fog, London felt mysterious, dreamlike, and a little bit haunted. A city half hidden, always shifting. As the fog rolled through the streets, the factories roared to life. Inside these vast brick buildings, machines clattered and belts spun from dawn until dusk. The air smelled of oil and hot metal. For many, factory work meant long hours, low pay, and little rest. But it also meant something new, opportunity. London was the beating heart of the Industrial Revolution. People poured in from the countryside, hoping for a better life. Some found it. Many did not. But the city kept growing, kept humming, kept pulling people into its orbit. Outside, horse-drawn buses rattled over cobblestones. Newspaper boys shouted headlines. Street vendors called out for customers, selling everything from roasted chestnuts to ribbons and lace. London was noisy, crowded, alive. Nowhere were London's contrasts more visible than in the lives of its people. For the wealthy, the city offered grand townhouses in Mayfair and Belgravia, evenings filled with music, conversation, and candlelit dinners. They strolled through Hyde Park, attended the opera, and filled their parlors with the latest inventions and curiosities from around the world. But for the poor, and there were many, life was far harsher. Entire families crowded into a single room. Children sold matchas or flowers on street corners. Women took in laundry or sewing to survive. Men worked wherever they could, in factories, on the docks, or hauling goods through the streets. The divide was stark. A carriage might roll past a ragged child begging for pennies. A lady in silk might step over a laborer sleeping on the pavement after a 14-hour shift. London held both worlds at once, often only a few steps apart, and yet, even in its darkest corners, Victorian London pulsed with possibility. Public libraries opened their doors, offering books and learning to anyone who could read, and to many who were determined to learn. Railways stitched the city together, shrinking distances and expanding dreams. New ideas about education, health, and social reform began to take root. People from every walk of life crossed paths in this restless, growing city. Immigrants, artists, inventors, laborers, aristocrats, all woven together in the great tapestry of London life. The city never truly slept. It simply shifted moods, from the bustle of day to the glow of gaslight at night, from the roar of industry to the quiet of narrow lanes where neighbors shared stories and scraps of hope. Victorian London was imperfect, complicated, and often unforgiving, but it was also vibrant, ambitious, and endlessly fascinating. It was a place where fortunes were made and lost, where dreams were born, and where the modern world began to take shape. Fog softened, factory-powered, crowded, creative. London was the heart of the Victorian world, and its pulse can still be felt today, echoing through its streets, its stories, and the lives of the people who called it home.